You're listening to the AID Network.
Hey friends, welcome to a special two-part comment below. And when I say special, it really means I'm taking one episode and I'm breaking it in half. Today is the last day the best mom and dad are out here visiting with us in California. So what I wanted to do was, instead of taking a week off, and the show's been going daily now for a good month and a half, I've been realizing the comments have all reduced, and I've been seeing a lot more trying to get caught up. I know I'm flooding you guys with content. So what I decided to do was take today's comment below and break it in two parts. Today, part one, we just look at all good TV happenings in the month of October, all good non-Halloween related TV happenings in the October. So it's sort of a guide to the 10 things I thought that looked the most interesting for this month due to DVRs, VOD, online streaming. Some of these dates have passed, but it doesn't matter because we all know we don't watch anything night of anymore except for football and award shows and some reality TV. I'm talking to you, Bachelor Nation. But enjoy today's episode with Sean and I, and tomorrow I'll release part two, which is a deep dive looking at the numbers, looking at the strategy, and a little bit of the frustration that comes along with trying to pick up and put together a YouTube channel. Just trying to get to that 4,000 watch hours, just trying to grind and get there. But for the rest of the week, we will return with a poster countdown with Billy and Mitch. How do Billy and I get together after our last breakup on air? Well, you'll have to listen Thursday and find all out. And then on Friday, we end the week with Hammer Time 50. And this Friday, the Hammer Time 50 pin will drop, which has our beautiful mascot, Hammy, just kicking back on an HT logo designed by our friends over at Lincoln Design Co. And of course, manufactured by everybody's buds, pingamestrong.com. Don't forget, they are a sponsor and supporter of the show. You still have time to get pin orders in for Black Friday. How do I know that? I don't know. Maybe I'm working on a little something special for next month, but you still have time to get your pin orders in for Black Friday, and you still have some time to get stuff together for the holiday. I would strongly suggest make a pin and create a little merchandise for yourself. They're incredibly inexpensive. They retail well. They're an easy buy. It's a low price point. And even if you don't want to sell them, why not make a pen to send out to all of your clients or prospective clients? You know, the holidays is a really great way to prime the pump of people that you work for or people that you want to work with in the future, or just keep that relationship going. You know, people will remember you if you make something witty that they put on the wall of their cubicle or put on their backpack or their jacket, etc., etc. Let's get into part one of Comment Below with Sean and myself. Part two will be tomorrow. We'll follow it up with the poster countdown on Hammer Time, and Friday the Hammer Time pin does go live. So make sure you log in to get one of those. And don't forget, Mark Brickey's Wake Up Call is still grinding away. We're in season 2, where I look back at the years of 1986 to 2000. You do not have to be a punk rocker. You do not have to be a hardcore kid, and you do not have to be a skateboarder to enjoy the content. I'm just looking at that period of my life and realizing the lessons that I learned that sent me in the direction that I'm in. By looking backward, we completely understand how we were able to move forward. Today's comment below. Let's get started. It's brought to you by your friends at jackprince.com/circle of trust. Remember, the more you spend, the more you save. All the things I said about holidays, copy, paste, put it here. You need to get some merch going. You need to make some money. You also need to remind your clients that you're still here and you're ready to work for next year. Morning. Welcome to another comment below. Shall I say konnichiwa, my friend Sean?
Yeah, hi. How's it going?
How are you, sir?
I'm all right. What's with the Japanese?
Well, you know, you were just recently in Germany, and I know they speak a lot of Japanese in Germany.
Yeah, big into it.
Real big into it. It's always weird when I see you out on the road and I see you hanging out with some dude that I don't know, and you guys are having a good time and you're broing. I'm like, okay, first off, I don't know who this jerk is, but second off, there's no way Sean could be having as much fun as if I were there. Like it irritates me to see you, and then you guys are like, bobbing around like, oh, look at this thing's funny. I'm like, that's not funny. I'll show you what's funny.
It's like when we talk about like judging Marvel movies, not against normal movies. You judge them against other superhero movies. It's the same thing. It's not quite the same level. It doesn't go quite to the same heights. Me hanging around on a street in Hamburg is not like me hanging outside New Orleans Square with you.
Oh,
it's not the same.
Sweet, sweet Mickey beignets. I need one today. Here's what we're doing on the show today. Welcome to Comment Below. Look at the cover. You see our brand new logo that we have created by our friends over at Lincoln Design Co. If you want to hear how that all came together, you can go over to the regular podcast, and we have brand practice, which is where we talk all about how we created that logo, because I make every bit of my world into content. What we're going to do today, though, is I have a list in front of me of my top 10 new shows that are coming back. Look, this is my top 10 in TV for the month of October. I also have some honorable mentions, some things I'll be keeping an eye on. And as always, when we get to our Circle of Trust for paid members, we will be looking at the AID YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow a YouTube channel. It has been challenging to say the least. And so we'll kind of get in there and talk a little bit about what it's like to be a content creator, what's working, what's not working. And I don't know, it's been challenging, but it's also been very, very fun. Sean, my number 10 show that I have for the month of October is a show called All American. Now, I don't know if this show is going to be good or not, because it's got a danger. It's on the CW, which is not a strong network here in America. But what I like about it is I love a good show where there's like a girl who is really hot, but they got her looking ugly, so that when she comes down the staircase and her glasses are off and her hair is blown out and she's wearing like, well-fitting clothing, maybe a little bit of makeup. I'm not a huge makeup guy, but I love the big reveal. Like, oh my God, we didn't realize the town nerd was beautiful all along. Well, this isn't that show, but it's a show about a guy who's really good at football. I love football. He lives in LA's Crenshaw neighborhood, not too far from where I live. And
that's a beautiful neighborhood.
Oh, beautiful. And he gets recruited to go play high school at Beverly Hills High, play football at Beverly Hills High. So what I love is he's from the ghetto. He's going to go play football at the high-end school. So it's a rags to live with the riches. And that's me, right? I'm rags. I live amongst the riches. This is my story. I'm just not very good at football.
Yeah, well, I don't really know what to say, but yeah, it definitely is. I can see Is it a comedy? Is it like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
No. It's a drama. And that's the thing. Like CW, they do programming that they skew towards young adults.
Yeah, The Flash and all of those things are on there, aren't they? They
also skew more than other networks to minorities. And actually, Donald Trump wanted this show called All African American, but they said, no, we're not going to do it. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting, and especially I know how much you love like that kind of slice of life LA kind of style as well.
Yes, I do.
So, that's got it for you. At least it's not from like bumfuck Ohio or whatever it's called. I'm sure that's going to be big on your list. I'm not going to lie. I feel a little excluded when there's a TV show called All American. It feels like it isn't appealing to me. Totally, who is 0% American.
Well, All American it's a title in football, and if you can get to that level, that means that you're going to be opening doors and you're going to get into, the NFL or whatever. So that's right. What that has to do. Here's a show that's not on my top 10, but I thought it was worthy of mention and keeping an eye on. Star Wars Resistance will be coming on 10/7, which I think is tonight or last night. Animated series set in between the events of Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. That part got me really excited. I went and looked at it. I watched the trailer. Had a hard time finishing the trailer. I loved all of the animation that they used for the spacecrafts and sort of the backgrounds, but the characters had no stylization or depth to their face. And
it's called cell shaded.
Is that what it
like
is?
The style. Yeah. It's kind of a relatively modern thing as far as I know, but like, I'm only really familiar with it from like the Zelda games. So it makes it look more like Japanese in style.
Yes.
In that respect. And what I do like about this kind of thing is I like that they are not afraid to change up the style. You think it would be so much easier for them to just stick with the kind of the Clone Wars and Rebels style, but the fact that they're just like throwing out that playbook and being like, right, well, we're going to make it up and it's all just going to live. So it's like comic books, and it's just like there's so many different mediums and they're all kind of feed into the same thing. So I like that they're ambitious in that way, but it doesn't grab me, the style, if I'm being perfectly honest. It is it's a bit jarring. It's quite a weird style.
I find the style to be, it's not realistic enough to look real, like the comic books of the 70s and 80s that I grew up around, but it also doesn't look stylized enough to be this fun new Nickelodeon Cartoon Network style of animation.
Yeah.
So it just looks like a real sort of boring space in the middle. Like I said, all of the spacecraft and stuff look real good, but the characters didn't move me because there's just a serious lack of line and depth to their faces. But I'm sure that when I was watching it, being a creative and understanding how things like this work, I'm like, this has to be a very efficient way to do character illustration. Like the play here has to be money.
Yeah, I that feels the way, doesn't it? Definitely. Yeah. It feels like more simplistic. With there not being as much definition, and it's got like a very 2D feel to it. So yeah, I understand that. I'm excited for this. I enjoyed Rebels, I enjoyed Clone Wars, so I think it's one of them where if you didn't watch those, like you didn't, it's probably not something that you're not going to step in now because there's even less of a reason to. But for me, who enjoyed both of those, like I'm on board regardless, and they tell good stories. And
so is this must-see TV for you?
Yeah, it is, definitely. I think that they take more risks, and I think that they have more chances because it's such long-form kind of storytelling as well.
Yeah.
So they just it's a lot less safe, in my opinion, than the movies, because obviously they can go further and stuff. And some of the things that like Rebels especially has started to implement towards the end was like world breaking, really, for Star Wars. So I'm excited for this one. I'm going to watch it like as soon. Well, I watched it last night. Is how I would say it.
There we go.
but I won't be able to tell you about it until next week.
See, I wanted to jump in because I tried the Clone Wars. That was the other animated series, right?
Yeah, Clone Wars is like 10 years old now, whereas Rebels is like 4 years old.
I tried that one, and I think that I also tried Rebels, and I can normally get about an episode and a half in, but there's a style of acting that they do when stuff's geared toward younger viewers that I just, after a while, I can't get past. And it's, instead of like the planes crashing, it would be just need to pull up on this stick so that the plane won't crash. And then the other character's like, Marisa, just pull up. You don't want to crash. And it just something that could be done in 5 seconds or edited. It's like a whole minute of pull up so I don't crash. If I could just reach the joystick. You're so close. You can almost reach the stick. You don't have to crash. And it just, I'm like, I'm out. I'm an adult.
Yeah. I mean, what again, I'm not trying to beat the drum here, but like what was good about Rebels especially was that it started off like, Ezra was young when it first started off. I couldn't tell you the exact age. He was probably like 15 maybe when the actual, so he's the main character. Yeah. So, they kind of, they brought him and his journey as he got older and got more wise with the Force. They expected the audience to grow with it as well. So they implemented like darker things. So there were like deaths and stuff like that. Whereas what you're talking about is that they're creating tension where there isn't any, because that nothing bad is going to happen. Right. Whereas this, it might start off that way, but it certainly, as it got towards the end, like some really dark shit happened, and it was like,
I just would love for them to make something like this adult themed, at the exact same level of the movies, because the movies aren't too crazy.
No, but maybe that's what this new Disney streaming service, Jon Favreau Mandalorian thing.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm hoping for. And really, the more I've thought about the Disney play, I know they've made good money off. What's that?
Isn't that what the streaming service is called as well?
Is that what it's called? Disney Play?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I might be wrong, but
look at me.
Stuck in my head when you said it.
Look at
Great
me.
work.
I'm so ahead of things. Obviously, they've made their money back on what they bought Disney or Star Wars from Lucas for. Having a hard time getting that thought out. But as I go out to the park and I think about what Marvel is worth, and then I think about what Star Wars is worth, if I was working in Burbank today and I was part of the team, I would be a little bit worried about how do we keep Star Wars fresh for years to come, and how do we keep everybody excited about it, because the scope of the Star Wars universe is quite small and doesn't seem to create a continual fanfare and a love affair that Marvel is just spreading like a disease. What they've been able to do with 10 years of Marvel films is outrageous.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
No, I agree with you. I think that I was old enough when film, I went to see Iron Man, like the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, like the first day it came out.
Me too.
Me and Ruth went, and so I'm old enough to remember when these movies started to kind of get announced. I remember there being like articles saying like, "Oh, Marvel announces it's kind of like Z-Team kind of thing," and there was nobody excited about these movies. Like, even though they did well and the trailers hit, and obviously it kind of built up, there was zero excitement for it. People were just like, oh well, it's going to be another superhero movie. We just kind of it was the year after The Dark Knight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a strange time. We thought that we'd reached peak superhero, and it was taking itself super seriously and stuff like that. So Marvel kind of had nothing to lose. They just kind of went for it. But I had no expectations. I was like, oh, an Iron Man film, that's going to be great. And I knew that like Hulk was coming out next.
Yeah.
So if you think that how low they were and how big it kind of built up, there was a period of grace where they could make mistakes like Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, and like Thor. Even all of them first films had a bit of a patchy thing. When they bought Star Wars, I mean, fucking hell, like any kind of misstep, they can't make a single mistake. Like everything's super polarizing, and it's like if you think that all Star Wars can do is go down. That's all it can do. All it can do is fall.
That's the thought I had when I was out at the park, that it started at such a high expectation that they have not been able to birth any new side characters that have any kind of fanfare around them. I did not see one
BB-8.
kid. BB-8, yeah, but that's a cop out. It's a fucking ball with a hat on.
Right there, right. I own two like BB-8 characters.
All right, so BB-8, but what? But it's a there he is. But it's a robot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I listen. I do agree with you. I think that they're trying to play it a little bit too safe, and I think that they're treating it like the crown jewels.
Yeah.
Whereas, like I say, when Marvel first brought theirs out, they were like, we've got nothing to lose, let's just do it and let's take a risk and we'll see how it goes. And then by taking risks and it paying off, they've then been like, well, let's take more risks and let's keep going. And whenever they've played it safe is when they've kind of fallen away a little bit, Marvel.
Well,
so now they're just like, well, let's just keep going, let's take chances.
Bigger the risk, the greater the reward, right?
Exactly. And that was always the hope with Star Wars. They came out and they were like, right, we're going to do this and then we're going to do this and this is going to happen. But like, listen, I'm not complaining, but I can see, you don't choose someone like J.J. Abrams if you're going to be taking risks.
No.
But you choose someone like Rian Johnson, but then now that everyone it was so polarizing, the kind of the Last Jedi reception, like I said, they're now, I'd be super interested because obviously Kathleen Kennedy has been given a new contract, so she's going to be working on it for longer. I'd be super interested to see what they do now, because everything you hear behind the scenes is they're going to take less risks, and everything that they'd announce is kind of going away now a little bit. So
well, the funny thing is they were so high on Rian Johnson until the movie came out and the fans got a hold of it. But beforehand, they were strutting around super stoked. Like, we found our guy. We're giving him a 3-series film to tell his own trilogy. They were really high on it until the fans got involved. And I say, don't listen to the fans. You're the ones that are making the movies. You're the one that's making the stuff. The fans aren't like Star Wars fans get into that really weird area of people that are looking at something as if it's a religion. All you're going to do is upset them. You could not do one thing to make 77% of those people happy. Trust your gut. Build what you know. You're the ones that work in Hollywood. My number 9 show. This is an interesting thing to look at.
Let's do this.
The number 9 show comes out October 5th. It's called Into the Dark. It's over on Hulu, and this is an interesting idea.
Oh, it's Netflix in the UK, I think, this one.
Oh, maybe it's a Netflix here. I thought it was Hulu here, but maybe it's Netflix. Maybe you're right. It's a Blumhouse-produced horror anthology series that will air monthly for a full year, the first Friday of each month, and it'll bring a new episode themed around the holiday. So, obviously, this month will be Halloween. Next month, Thanksgiving, into Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, April Fool's Day. What an interesting idea, because people love horror. There are a lot of shows that are coming out that they're trying to do a serial on horror. They're doing 10 episodes about this and about that. I don't know that I would want to be in a 10-hour telling of a horror story. I don't know that you could craft a story that's rich enough with enough characters to give me 10 hours of solid entertainment. But this idea of sort of reinventing yourself every month, tapping into whatever the theme is, I don't know that people will jump and watch this 10-5, but around 10:30, this thing's going to get a ton of streams, and people will probably show up around Thanksgiving. Oh, it's the night before Thanksgiving. Let's watch a horror Thanksgiving film. Like, I think that this is a really, really smart play. The trailer looks kind of interesting. It looks like they change it per episode. I think this is a really interesting concept, and probably one of the most original ones we've seen this year.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that Blumhouse have a bit of a hit and miss track record. Like, I love the business model of kind of making, making films for cheap, and then, anything that kind of then doesn't seem to kind of rise to the top once it's kind of being made, they then kind of bury it and just make it as a Netflix movie or whatever, and then the rest of it kind of gets a theatrical release. It's a very, very smart business model that has just worked, because for every I'm trying to think, like things like Knock Knock, or for what did I see that was a Blumhouse film that was really bad? It was like a Truth or Dare thing. It was that came out last year. That was terrible. But they made Get Out, and how much fucking money did Get Out make?
A ton.
So Blumhouse are definitely one to watch, and they seem to be doing really well with it. So this is an interesting idea, and it's very different. And like you say, I think the fact that you can kind of just kind of give it a little bit of time, and you're not committed to kind of every single week having to like show up for a new one, or the Netflix thing where you're kind of having to watch it like all in one go. I do like the idea of that, and it gives you enough time in between each one to kind of tell its own story. So I'm into it. I won't watch it because I know that Ruth won't watch it, and I'm not going to sit there and watch it on my own. So it's frustrating, because this is the kind of thing that I'm really into. Like, if this was a movie thing where it was like, oh, we're going to release a movie every single month at the cinema,
first Friday of every month,
absolutely. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be great. This is, I think, a really unique idea, and I'm going to try to check it out. And coming up later in the month, what we're going to do is we're going to give you an episode that's everything Halloween that released this month. Because of VOD and streaming, you can go back to things that have already released, but there was so much of it that I tried to keep a lot of it out of this list, so that when we got closer, we're like, hey, this is everything that people came out with. Go through it, sort through it, and go watch the great spooky cake decorating.
Can we just pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
I've not started recording. We never started recording.
I did, but go ahead and...
It's because we didn't do the clap thing.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it now?
No, I got it on my end.
I'm fucking sorry, man. I just thought that.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's just because it was like quite a quick like kind of introduction. Fucking sorry.
This is why I have the backup system. The backup system works, ladies and gentlemen. Always have a backup plan. Always have a backup plan.
Well, let's hope that the backup doesn't fail, because then we have no plan. It's just you talking to yourself about Star Wars.
That'll be fine. I could listen to that.
I could.
Speaking of, one of the things that we'll talk about when we do our all October haunted Halloween episode, the haunting of Hill House, 10/12. This is, I believe, a Netflix, and it's 10 episodes. So, I would be more apt to get into something like Into the Dark, where I could watch one episode and then revisit in a month. The Haunting of Hill House, like I watched the trailer, it looked scary, it looked dark. I just don't know that I could do that for 10 hours. And definitely, I'm not dragging Beth along that for 10 hours. There's no way she's making that journey with me.
No, there's no... that business model for me has died out now with Netflix. Like at first I was quite interested in it. I thought it was cool, like the bingeable thing, but like I haven't got enough time in my life to then sit and binge watch something. I much prefer the actual traditional model of watching something week on week. Yeah, I just think it's a much better way of doing it, and I think that Netflix would be better served if they did it that way, because they probably have a little bit more time to make the show as well that way. Yeah, for me personally, I just think it's better. It leads to more water cooler moments as well, which
it brings people together. Speaking of, exactly. Last week on the show, Sean was out, and me and Connie Collinsworth, we did an episode where we completely broke down episode by episode. We even ranked the top 20 characters of Ozark season 2. If you haven't started Ozark season 2, or you're in the middle, do yourself a favor, go download that episode, bookmark it over on YouTube, watch it when you have. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's by far the greatest season of TV that I've watched in all of 2018. We're really close to the end of this year. I don't know if anything will beat it. So after you watch it, you'll want to have that episode. And remember, episodes are only free for the first 30 days over on our iTunes. So if you want that, go ahead and download it, and make sure you listen to it when you're done, because I think you'll enjoy having a couple of buds to recap it with. Number 8 on my list, Marvel's Daredevil comes back to Netflix on 10/19. Sean, is this the third or fourth season? Third. All right.
Yeah. Because he was in. They did the Defenders, didn't they?
That's right. That's
he
right.
Was in, but yeah,
I'm lukewarm on this show.
Too far gone. I enjoyed first season and second season, but then I've barely seen anything since, and I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going to pick up. It's one of them things where I feel like a bit of a completist, so it's like I'm not going to. This feels like season 1 and season 2 were like the first 2 seasons of a whole Marvel thing
on Netflix.
You kept going, and this is now like whatever would be season 9 if you're including. Or was one that you watched with the
Punisher.
The Punisher.
I love that one. My dad loved that. When my dad called me and goes, I watched this show and it's so good. I'm like, I was waiting to hear what he was going to say. He's like, you seen this Punisher guy? I'm like, what? You're just sitting at home retired watching Punisher by yourself? Go Marvel, Dad.
That's what happens when you live in the middle of America. You just want to watch angry people beat other people up.
So true. My dad's got a little Frank Castle in him.
Oh God, Jesus.
Yeah, I think here's how this will work. Marvel's Daredevil. I'm having a hard time speaking this morning. Will go on my Marvel's Daredevil. It will go on my list of shows to watch. And when I'm caught up on regular TV, I'll say, which from the binge pile do I want to pull out and spend a week with? It's going to be a hard sell for me because I feel like the show's small. I don't like Froggy. I don't like the vampire chick when she's not a vampire. I think Daredevil is too torn. And to be honest, I liked season 1 when Kingpin was around.
Yes, that was great.
He was fantastic. I was like, man, you got so big, so fat since you were on Law & Order SUV. And then the other thing is I liked it when Punisher was around. So I've always ended up liking the other one. Also, who was the unbelievably attractive chick that was his partner in crime that burnt him over?
Oh, right. Elektra.
Oh, yeah, Elektra. Sweet Elektra.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead, caller. Sean Moore, go ahead. First time caller, long time listener. Go ahead. I got Sean in Bristol on line 4. Go ahead.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. Question. If these characters were part of the wider Marvel universe, so say you turned up in Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah, would you watch it?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
If this world touched dicks with that world, I would be way more into it.
Yeah, I think that I don't think they're necessarily missing a trick with it because Infinity War made all the money and it doesn't really matter. And it was a great film.
I saw the guy out front protesting no Daredevil, no ticket, and he wasn't going in.
Imagine that conversation. Kevin, I think you're leaving some money on the table here. Use the blind guy. Use the fucking blind guy. Yeah, I think that...
I'm just imagining accounting in Marvel's basement like, we're 2 tickets short. Wait a minute. Hold on. We're missing $28. What's going on here?
Just like calling the Russo brothers up saying, right, I know that you've got 45 heroes in this movie, but what about this cast of shitty B characters that you want? Do you want these guys in? An extra 9 character or whatever? An Iron Fist as well, who's like a load of shit. What
if they just put him in it? Like on the DVD, and they're all running one way because he's blind. He runs the other way.
Oh God!
Just like a 5-second cameo of him. They're all charging one way. He's just like, "Hey, buddy, Wakanda's this way, bro." He's just going the other way.
I'd totally be into that, but there is definitely something weird. Like I remember watching the Infinity War and thinking they're in New York.
Yeah,
like and it's not the same part
just
of New
York.
Just
buying a hot dog.
Yeah, there's Hell's Kitchen and like Bleecker Street are not next to each other, but still, it's like they would be impacted by that, and it's just a little bit like it was just a thought, and it was a fleeting thought, but I don't think the movie would be better for it. It's just there's something always nagging where it's like, are they in the same world? Because I think they're supposed to be in the same world.
Yeah, Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I guess they're TV-matic. Anyways, number 7 on my list, Walking Dead returns. The final Rick Grimes episodes. Yeah.
Do you want to know where this is on my list?
No, I know where it is on your list. There's not a piece of paper long enough to put it at the bottom. We'll see what happens. I'm in so deep. Just end it so that I can end it, so that I can walk away. I can't go away after this long, but Fear the Walking Dead season 4, the first half of it started out, they refreshed it. It started out so different. I'm like, man, they're actually going to turn this around. And then I just watched the final episode and they had this big climax at the end where it looked like everybody might die. And I thought, just let them all die. Go out with your boots on. Have just an ounce of dignity. But no.
You're just the abused wife who just keeps going back.
I can't stop it.
Just stop. Come on,
Rick loves me.
But I love him. I love him so much.
Don't put a hand on him, officer.
Just do it. Yeah. The thing is, I remember watching do you know what Neighbours is? Are you familiar with the TV show Neighbours? It was like it was a soap on it was an Australian soap, and we used to watch it in the UK all the time. It was.
Is it the one where the guy slaps the other guy's kid, and all the families start hating each other because he slapped the kid, and then they're like, "You can't slap a kid that's not yours." And then the kid that got slapped was like, "But I got slapped, and it wasn't my dad." And then everybody got torn apart because this guy slapped another kid, and the whole controversy was about the slap. But I can't remember what the name of the show was.
Yeah. I'm struggling to think of what that name is.
What was the name of that show? Hitting Kids? Don't hit your kids?
Yeah,
I think it was something catchy like that.
Yeah. Anyway, Neighbours is this really shitty soap that was badly produced, and then whenever a character died, they would there would be a soft focus lens, and
I love that.
They'd be it, and then they'd
that's how I see my own death in my mind.
Exactly. Well, that's it. It's I just remember as a kid just watching characters die, or someone say, "Oh, you're going to be okay," and then they end up dying, and then they show a bit of a montage of all of the things that have happened over the years and stuff. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with Rick Grimes. The last episode, it's going to be so overwrought and emotional, and it's oh no, Rick. He's not just going to get his head chopped off by Negan or whatever. It's going to be this long wrought like kind of process that nobody cares about because everybody wanted Rick to die like 3 seasons ago, and it's just like I couldn't care less. Like, I see on. I struggle to call it news, but on like the news sites, it's like, oh, this is going to be his last season. Get the get the Kleenex ready. And I'm like, no, I don't care. I don't care. Just stop. I might put a ban on like Walking Dead. You could have like trigger words where
you can
just,
block it.
Yeah, I might block the Walking Dead from it because I don't need it anymore. I'm totally over it, and I feel good. I feel so much better now that I've left her. I feel so much better. I don't have to deal with the abuse anymore.
I hope that he ends up in a weird love affair with Maggie. And
which one's Maggie?
The one Glenn's
wife.
Yeah.
Glenn's dead now.
Yeah.
He got a baseball bat to the head, didn't he?
Yeah. So I hope that he gets into a weird love affair with her, but she's seeing somebody else. So he's out front of her door and he's got these cards. And he's pulling over one card after the other on Christmas.
Okay, I see what you're doing here. Yeah,
and then
I get it.
Glimby's on. Glimby's on. Zombie Glenn. Glimby's on.
Glimby's on. Glimby's on.
Glimby's on. Bites him in the neck. Dead Rick Grimes. I mean, what would have been great if they would have did a season opener and all of a sudden, like the best deaths on that show have been the one where you're like, oh, no, that guy today. The fact that we know it's the final episodes, they had a play to do something great, to something flashing. Because if Rick would have just died unannounced and they kept that as a secret, that would become news. That would get people talking about that show. And it would probably, a lot of people like, oh, I'm going to go back and check out that episode. I'm going to see where they're going to go without him. But now everybody's just like, here they are. They're how does good things go so bad?
I don't know, but I know exactly why they're doing it is because the ratings have gone down and they're trying to get people to kind of tune back in. And maybe it will work for some people. Maybe people
I think they rub so many people the wrong way that it's only going to get lower and lower year after year.
Well, that's how it feels for me, definitely. But it would be amazing if they just, because you feel like he's going to die in the last episode of this season.
Last episode, last minute, they probably I wouldn't even hold it past those fucks to like cliffhang it over to next season.
Kill him in the opening credits of the first episode. That would be amazing. It would be so good, and then just be like, right, clean break, let's do this. That show some balls, and what they don't have is balls. It's just, I don't know, it's frustrating, but it's never going to change now. Like they've hitched a ride on that like kind of shit slow money train, and nah.
Yeah, I mean they're making a lot of money, and I know that they want this show to go for a very, very long time. And don't even get me started about what's the purpose of Fear of the Walking Dead now. We'll see what happens. But I'm in too far. I'm in too deep. Number 7 on my list. Number 6. Let's go back to happier times. Let's go back to the distant future, the year 2000. Flight of the Conchords has a special on HBO. They did a reunion tour. This is live at the London Apollo. There's an Apollo Theater in London too?
Yeah, it's Hammersmith. Oh. Yeah, it's an amazing venue. It's huge.
It's quite a different neighborhood than the one that we have here in the States.
Where's the Apollo? Is that in California?
No, it's in New York City.
Oh, okay. What is? I don't know. Where is the Apollo?
I don't want to explain that joke to you.
Okay.
Flight of the Conchords live at the London Apollo. It's not the type of joke that you want to explain.
Okay, I get it.
I'll be interested to see this. I'll probably tune into a little bit of this. The first 2 seasons, or the 2 seasons that they did make Flight of the Conchords, fantastic. Beth and I, when we finished our reunion of watching all of the episodes of The Office, we said, well, what other good classic show do we want to go back to? Just an easy watcher while we're eating. And we did, I'd say 4 or 5 episodes of Flight of the Conchords, and watching the old show and then seeing a promo like directly after, like seeing them 1 minute back in time and then seeing them promote the special. I'm like, oh fuck, those guys got old.
Yeah, they really did get like craggy, and they look the same in a lot of ways,
right?
But they're just like still doing the same thing. It's like Wilco, I guess, in that same way. They're still wearing the plaid shirts, but it's just something's gone wrong.
You know, I saw Wilco play their I think it was either their first or second concert ever.
You were born in like 1805?
Yeah, I was born in 1805.
Yeah. Wow. No way.
Yeah.
That's when was that then? Tell me when that was.
It would have been.
Fucking hell, this must have been so long ago.
Oh, yeah, real old. It was probably 94, 90.
Jeez.
It was probably 19. I graduated high school in 93. This is probably 94, maybe early 95. There was a brewery, and they wanted to play like an early show, not around a lot of people, and so they just played a parking lot and a brewery down in Louisville, Kentucky, on a just a stage. And I had been an Uncle Tupelo fan, and those two guys had broke apart. One, Jay Farrar, did Sunvolt, and Jeff Tweedy did Wilco. And so we went to see it, and we were a little bit curious because he didn't have a huge part in Uncle Tupelo. It was mainly Jay Farrar's band. And so we kind of went to see it and check it out. And it was one of their very first shows that they ever played, just to kind of do some, just to do some pickup dates before they really went all in on their first tour for their freshman album, Wilco's AM.
Was it good?
Yeah. That band is a band that has grown up with me, and I kind of can always look at their albums as chapters in my life. And I mean, I have a fondness of that band. I mean, they're kind of much like me now at this point, very far away from where they started and not making a lot of sense. But like I said, they're very relatable to my life.
Yeah, no, I feel exactly the same way about Arctic Monkeys, another AM. So I completely get that. That makes sense. As for the Flight of the Conchords, I will. So I had some friends who went on this tour. Like they asked me if I wanted tickets, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to pay $100 to see two guys dick about on stage and just play old songs. But apparently they played like loads of new stuff, which is pretty cool. It's good that they do that. But like everybody on Facebook when they were going, because I had so many friends go and see, because they play huge shows over here. I mean, they must have been massive in like in the US as well if they toured over there. But like the shows were like, they were playing like arenas, like a couple of nights at each arena and stuff, like over 10,000 people a night. Everybody were just like, oh, off to see Flight of the Conchords tonight. I've got my business socks on and all that lot, saying all the business time stuff. And like, they just didn't play business time at all, like on the tour. And it was just like, everyone was just like, that was the only song that everybody seemed to want to watch, to see. And it was just like, nope, didn't play it. And I was like, oh, how gutted are you? Everybody was like, got my business socks on. It's business time. Like, no, it isn't. Sorry, mate.
The funny thing about that kind of music is a comedy album you can listen to, a good comedy album you can listen to an endless amount of times. And I know that's weird because most music, like Be Here Now, how many times have you and I listened to that album? Probably more than you could ever dream to count. But a good comedy album, the jokes just get funnier and funnier, and you start to really realize all the genius timing. I wish those guys would do another season of their TV show. I feel like there's been enough time passed, enough living to where they could do something interesting. But I don't know. I could also appreciate going out on a high note.
HBO would back up a truck full of money.
Absolutely.
To them. And I don't feel like season 2 was going out on a high note personally. I thought that season 2 there was a big drop off.
There was.
Between season 1 and 2.
And they were quite honest in their explanation why, and it made a ton of sense to me that, we had our whole life to make that first season. Then we're supposed to do it all over again in the window of 5 months. And really, it actually was a big eye-opener to me on why TV shows can go so bad. But they still had one of my favorite quotes ever in their series finale. Somebody said, it's a rag to riches story. And like, oh, isn't it more of a rags to rags story? And I just fucking love that term so much. My number 4 is from HBO. It's a series called Camping. It's an adaptation of a British comedy series about a group of old friends on a back-to-nature group holiday at a lackluster campsite. Comes from the team behind HBO's Girls, including creator Leah Dunham, and it has Jennifer Garner in her first regular TV role since Alias. I looked at the trailer. This is a wife watcher. It looks like a Sunday night comedy, and I've been looking to put one of these back into the rotation, so I'm looking forward to Camping. It looks pretty good.
Well, I would say just watch the original. They've glossed it up. I don't understand why anybody would go anywhere near it because the original is a wonderful, wonderful TV show.
Oh, it is? Is worth checking out?
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing. Like, it's perfect in almost every way. It's got some amazing like people who you would recognize in there as well.
Oh, cool.
I just don't. I mean, I get it. it's got Lena Dunham and it's got whatever she's called, Ben Affleck's ex-wife,
Jennifer
stuff
Garner.
like that.
Yeah,
Jennifer Garner. But I'm just this is perfect. I guess it could be one of those Office moments where it's like it starts off a bit ropey and then gets great, and that's fine, becomes a different thing. But like, oh man, hopefully it will shed a bit of light on Camping the UK show, and
awesome.
More people will see it, because it wasn't a big deal over here.
I'll have to check that out. I accidentally skipped one too because I saw the HBO number 5, kind of in that same category. It's over on Netflix, BBC again. Wanderlust. Is it Toni Collette?
Toni Collette, yes.
Yeah.
The Australian actress.
She is a fantastic actress. And if you were to make the Mike Clay story, could be perfectly cast as his wife.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I don't want to see it though.
I don't think legally I'm allowed to see it.
No, that's very true. I'd love to see the scene where you get shouted down for stealing the poster idea. I don't. This is on at the moment in the UK.
Yeah, BBC Netflix co-production.
Yeah, it's a really kind of sexy thing by all accounts. Like it was the first climax on TV, but that's not a reason for me to watch a TV show.
It's about a couple that hits a lull in their sex life, and they decide to maybe start having sex with others, which always is a good idea. There's no way that could go wrong. It's a pretty boring premise. I probably won't watch.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well, if it's number 5, then you must be pretty excited about it. So.
It's a wife watcher.
I am.
I love a good 30-minute. The wife loves anything that kind of has a vibe of an indie film. That's where her sensibilities are, and that stuff plays well in the 30-minute kind of comedy, more dramatic, and I love watching TV with her. So that's one on my list. Something else I'm keeping an eye out on is the Alec Baldwin Show, 10/14 over on ABC. The talk show format, there's a lot of it out there. I do it myself. I like to watch it as a student of it. Alec Baldwin is a great speaker. I'll be interesting to see him. I've only really ever seen him in the interview section of content be the guest. It'd be interesting to see him be the host and how he navigates that dance and that conversation when he's such a conversationalist himself. So I don't know if I'll watch it.
Problem.
What's that?
I think that's going to be the problem.
That's what I'm interested to see how he does that.
Yeah, it's going to be him interviewing somebody else interviewing him.
Yeah,
just a bit like.
I mean, he's really bright. He's very verbose, and he does a good job. And as somebody who interviews somebody for a living, when you sit across from somebody that's not communicating very well, they're not getting their ideas out, they're giving you short answers that aren't going anywhere. You got time to fill. And sometimes
how is Billy, by the way?
A shoot and a hit. But sometimes you just have to carry the weight, and carrying the weight means doing a lot of talking, and you have to do the talking for them. And he's definitely capable of that. So that's something I'll look at.
Definitely carrying a lot of weight these days as well.
Yeah, I feel like those guys in Vietnam, and they've just got their buddy over their back, and they're like trying to get them off the battlefield. Number 3 on my list. There are good parts to this. There are bad parts to this.
Okay.
October 12th, the Romanoffs.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is problematic to a certain extent.
It is.
And it also, I've seen all the trailers and stuff. I'd love to know what you think first, because I was mega excited about this when it first got announced. And now a little less so. And nothing to do with the Me Too stuff. I don't really... that doesn't affect my judgment on whether a TV show is any good or not. Go on. What do you think?
Yeah. So this is it's made by the Weinstein Company, which puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But just because you work someplace doesn't mean that you're part of what the ownership does. So you can't.
I didn't know it was a Weinstein thing.
Yeah. You can't shit on the whole company because the guy at the top's a fucking creep. But this is the first post Mad Men series for Matthew Weiner.
Yeah.
Who he has directly allegations against him, correct?
Yeah. Well, did he tell someone to take the clothes off or something? Like it wasn't like anything. No, this sounds really bad, but it wasn't. He didn't do anything, but he basically just said to someone like, told them that he needed to see her naked or something like that, and it was just like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
this
was during Mad Men, wasn't it? She was a writer on Mad Men.
Oh, I thought it was going to be. That's going to be like an actress, but the writer, like, hey, writer, I need to see you naked so that I can trust your writing to know if you're writing like something sexy. I need to be able to judge your inner dialogue. What a creep. What a fucking dickhead. So
I know.
This is where it goes wrong for me, though. So let's just throw the Me Too stuff as much as we want to over here.
Yeah, because, well, for 1 second, because his rebuke to that was, yeah, that does sound like something I would say. So I was just like,
kind of respect that. I
guess, like, you know, it's the Louis C.K. kind of defense to a certain extent. But like I say, I don't know. I'm prepared personally as a white male to forgo all of those things, because if it's good TV, it's good TV regardless. And you know, he's going to come up against problems in the future, I think.
Yeah. Well, all of that complicates talking about this. We'll see what it is. Here's like just taking the politics and the social aspect out of it, which is
let's do that.
Getting harder and harder for me to do every day because there's just so much of this stuff that's bleak and depressing. Anyways, each episode is a standalone featuring a completely different cast. I like TV to match up. I want to put hours in. I want to fall in love with the character. I want a Don Draper that I can spend years with. So that's a little bit different. But the subject matter, if the subject matter was good, I'd be all in. But it's each one centering on a different present day person who claims to be a descendant of the Russian dynasty that gives the show its title. I don't know. This is there's a lot of problematic stuff here. The thing that wants me to give it a chance is I loved Mad Men. And there is a shit ton of really good people in this show. Unreal list of people.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel exactly the same as you. I've seen the trailers. I didn't quite know what it was. Then I found out it was this kind of strange, separate thing. I read a couple of reviews over the last few days, and they were saying kind of, you know, it's as messy as you think it would be.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some are better than others, which you would expect. But I'm just a bit like, I think when that some are better than others thing works really well with a long form TV show. So like something like Mad Men, you can afford to have a season of 13 episodes and a couple of them be slow.
Because you still get to spend time with the people that you love and you put in time in their characters.
Yeah, when it's the same thing, like, you know, when you get into something like a Black Mirror, and you get then a bunch, like, you know, if it's a 6-episode thing and then 3 of them aren't great, all of a sudden you're like, well, this didn't really work for me this year. We'll wait till next year. So I'm going to watch it because, let's be honest, you know, he's only ever written on The Sopranos and Mad Men, and they were both like, you know, top 5 shows of all time. So that's enough of a reason. Like, there's enough goodwill in the bank without all of the politics. Matthew Weiner's got so much goodwill in the bank these days with me. It's just a weird thing to say, but yeah. So I am going to watch it, but I really have almost no hopes for it on a personal level, because it isn't the kind of thing I give one shit about.
Isn't this the type of thing that an artist does, where they're like, I'm so good that I'm going to give you all these constraints and challenge myself and still make something that you think is good. And when you're like, everything's a different episode, that's problematic at times. And then everyone is about somebody that says they're part of a dynasty from Russia. Dude, like, just take a format that I don't give a shit about and marry it with a topic that I don't give a shit about. Think all the advertising, though, has just been the heads, all of the photos of all the people that are in it, to be like, I know all this sucks, but you love these people, right? You'll show up for these people, right?
Yeah. Or is it the other way around, where it's kind of one of those things where, like, you know, a band gets to a size where they can do whatever they want and then they take too long, rather than like kind of going down a creative path. It's almost like they've lost a bit of creativity and they can do whatever they want and nobody cares. It's like the Chinese democracy.
Yes.
Kind of thing. That's how it feels to me. But like I say, I don't know. I mean, it Mad Men feels like it finished a long time ago, and it's like he hasn't done anything since. So he made a movie that didn't do well, but I don't know. I remain skeptical about it, but I am going to watch it, and I guess we'll just see how it goes.
I put it number 3 on my list because I know I'm 100% going to check it out, but I'm going to watch it with bated breath and not expect too much. And then also, if this will be a solo watcher, because if Beth gets a vibe on any of the politics behind this, hard out, and rightfully so. All right. Yeah. I know that we said that we have an episode coming up that's going to be all Halloween, but there's something that it is my responsibility to tell you about before we get to that episode. 1014 over on Freeform, decorating Disney Halloween magic.
Okay. So is that what I think it is?
I hope it is. I don't know. I'm just going to watch it blind and hope that it is what I think that it is.
I mean, it sounds like they're going into the parks and showing you the kind of a documentary about Not So Scary or whatever. That sounds interesting.
I would absolutely dream if that's what it is, but knowing Disney and how no, I'm just getting no. I just did a quick Google and all I'm getting is fan stuff with similar names.
We'll see what we're getting a Disney boner.
Yeah, we'll see what it is. I mean, knowing them, you see this, it says decorating Disney Halloween magic, and you're like, oh my God, are they going to show us how they decorate Paris and Japan and Disneyland and Anaheim and Disney World in Orlando? Are they going to show us how they decorate the parks? And then you watch and it's like, here's how you can make a Mickey wreath for your front door.
Imagine how devastating that would be. I just want to see them put the Hatbox Ghost in there. Yeah. I want it just to be like this amazing overlay. But does Disneyland in California do the Not So Scary party?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. I thought it was
two
maybe
of them.
just right. Okay.
Here's what he's talking about. They do a thing called Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Yes. It's a separate ticket. So if you buy a ticket, it used to be a reduced ticket, but now I think it's about the same as a normal day ticket. So it's like $100. And what happens is you get access to Disneyland 3 hours before it starts. So the party's from, I believe, say 7 to midnight. So you could get in the park as early as 4 o'clock. You're encouraged to decorate or to dress up for Halloween. And then at 7 o'clock, all of the other people have to leave. So you basically have Disneyland for an evening with a much smaller crowd in it. They have trick-or-treat stations everywhere, so your kids can roam around the entire park. You go to these trick-or-treat stations where the cast members literally give you fistfuls of candy. I still have some candy from last year out in the garage hidden somewhere. And
amazing. Hidden. I love that it's hidden.
It's great. It's a really, really, it's a fun time. The entire park. They have creepy music playing through the whole park. They have, fog and smoke. They do a villains only parade. The best part is the Headless Horseman.
Headless Horseman
goes down Main Street, and it was too scary the first year, so they had to soften it up the next year. Because people are like, hey, it says Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween. My kid's fucking crying because this horse is going down the street with a thunderstorm behind him. But it's a really, really great party. And the only sacrifice is that last week I was at Disneyland with hipster Mickey himself, Jared Mariuma, and we had to spend the whole night in DCA because Disneyland closed at 7 o'clock. So it's a little frustrating if you're out at the park and they close it down for others.
Yeah, so not to go too deep into it, but this is my question, because I know how Florida works, but I didn't know about Disneyland. How often do they have that party? Is it every few nights?
They do a lot of them. It used to be, the season used to be maybe 6 or 8, and I think now they probably do about 16.
Which is crazy because with Florida, you can get away with it to a certain extent because they have 4 parks.
Right, but here we only have 2.
So it's if you're blocked out of Disneyland for half of 2 months, and it just seems a little bit crazy to me. But,
people need
they're doing okay.
Yeah. Well, I did start a Kickstarter. People need to get used to that, though, because the way that the passes work now in 2019 with Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge opening up, your Disneyland AP pass, some days you will only be allowed in California Adventure. You'll be completely iced out of Disneyland.
Is that with your pass?
No, fuck that.
I was just going to say, I thought that, obviously with Sean's pass, I get that, the kind of the cheap pass or whatever.
Yeah.
But with the more expensive one, okay, I understand. So yeah, okay. Well, we don't need to talk about Disney parks, I guess, for this guy. I have a million questions.
We
and I
always
feel
can.
like
We always
just
can.
keep going, but
all right, let's get into this.
Let's do it another time.
Number 2 on my list, 1019, Netflix returns with season 2 of Making a Murderer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're excited about it because it's number 2.
Well, it's another torn excitement.
You don't sound excited about October at all, man. Okay, now.
I'm a finicky TV watcher. I mean, my number 1 I'm definitely pumped on, and that's why it's number 1. But number 2, Making a Murderer. Beth and I had such a great time watching the first season. It happened right around the holidays. We were new to California. We didn't have a ton of family eating up our holiday time. So it just became a, hey, you want to go home and watch another murder show? And we would just watch it. And when you're watching it, you kept thinking, is this real? Did the Coen brothers make a faux documentary and use bad cameras to make it feel so real? Everyone in there felt like a Coen brothers character. And it was real, and it made you really frustrating. And I know that all documentaries are shown at a very, very skewed perspective to tell a story. And, you know, the latest Michael Moore film is fucking great. And I'm sure all of those gimmicks are in there too. But I'm curious, do they have enough story? Can they tell it? Because they got so lucky the last time that it felt like such an injustice. It made you so angry. And if now we're just dealing with the retrial, him in jail, you know, dealing with his lawyers, I don't know if they'll be able to get the same kind of magic. And also, everybody feels slighted and outed on the first season. So people are going to be putting up their guard this time when they see the cameras around, not wanting to look like that state-appointed prosecutor in season 1.
Yeah, I think that they like it's like the Marvel thing. They like kind of hit gold to a certain extent.
Sure.
And this season, it's like they can only go down. Like, how many times have you been excited for a second season and then it's just kind of passed and nobody really cares that much?
Right.
Think of the amount of that was basically the beginning of this true crime renaissance.
Oh, absolutely. This sparks Serial over in the world of podcasting, and it creates a whole genre of radio because of that. I mean, this was one of Netflix's early big wins, real big win.
Yeah, it was. So this feels like it. They're almost doing it because it is a big name rather than because they kind of have enough material. Like I felt like season 1 was a little bit too long anyway. So
yeah, there were a couple of them that you're like, yeah. I mean, this is so big that I'm trying to build a YouTube channel. It actually made me think about, should I murder somebody?
Oh God, you should definitely do it. Who would be on? Let's do a top 10 of people who Brickey would murder. Straight in at number 1.
Probably rhymes with Silly Salmon.
I'm familiar with that. I know how that works. I think we could track him down under the train tracks in Wicker Park.
Well, we'd have to throw a bucket of baby powder to hit his invisible form. And then, you know, then we would see where he was really at, because he's a liberal, invisible assassin, political assassin. What the fuck's
yeah, that's so true.
What's the matter with him?
Yeah, we'll just see him at the one of the Memphis Express games. He's a lifelong fan, so we'll be able to track him down there. It'll be all good.
Yeah, he'll be all decked out in all that sweet Memphis Express gear.
Get your Memphis Express merch. Oh God. So
hey,
yeah.
If you order anything from AIDpodcast.com, we only use Memphis Express, and it'll be there next day, looking shitty.
There's no way it'll be there next day. I can't say that. Absolutely not.
Memphis Express, baby. All right. One other thing that's not on my countdown, but I'm keeping an eye on, is The Sandman. Adam Sandler is back over on Netflix. This time, he's doing a stand-up special. His comedy albums when he was a young man were fucking hilarious. And I know that he's going back to do some blue material. He's doing some dirty stuff. And I've said for a long time, if Adam Sandler would stop making family-focused entertainment and go back to the glory days of a Happy Gilmore or a Billy Madison, I would be so pumped. I'm going to watch a little bit of this to see if he still has his mojo, only because I've said that he should do this for years. And I don't want to be somebody that's like complains. Oh, definitely turn this into a shirt. I would buy one. Never shows up to buy a shirt.
Okay.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, it's easy when it's Netflix as well because you don't really have to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's already in there.
Turn it on.
So
see if he's there.
I mean, I'll watch this definitely.
Give the same man a stream.
Yeah, I like this special kind of thing where it's like every now and again.
All right, here we go. Number 1 on my list. This is a show that I love. It's also a wife watcher. It's the male anti-hero. It's dark. It's Los Angeles. It's everything that I love in a show. Ray Day returns. That's right. Bunchy and Ray Day, which really is called Ray Donovan. Love the series. It's back. It's been on the ropes a couple of times, but the last season ended so strong, and they, spoiler, got rid of the wife.
Oh, so that happened. Because we stopped watching it that season where she was kind of dying, or not necessarily dying, but she was having the kind of the cancer problems. And is that what happened?
Yeah, well, they got rid of her in a clever way, so it's definitely worthy of watching, and knowing that she's going to die doesn't ruin it because it's a very long process. But I love Ray Donovan. I love his dad, Mickey, who says everything the most offensive way possible. Like,
he is the most Republican, most awful man ever.
Because that he's so obsessed with black women, you wouldn't say that he's racist. You would just say that he's maybe old-fashioned.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, he really does love sleeping with a sexy black woman.
Oh, that's what he lives for. That's the thing that keeps him alive and not in jail. So there you go. There are our top 10 shows that I'm excited about. Sean, is there anything that I missed that you're pumped up about that's coming back in October?
No, I don't think so. Like I had a good look through, and there really isn't anything that's exciting for me. Like, it's all things that I used to watch and kind of gave up on. And then there's a load of things where it's just like, I'm so excited about it that I'm not even going to watch the trailer.
Yeah.
So it's like, so things like The Flash and stuff like I used to really love that. But like I say, with this condensed amount of time that I have, it's just like, well, it's not going to happen. There's enough on right now with like Better Call Saul and The Good Place and all of the other things that you've been talking about here, like Star Wars Resistance. And I'm definitely going to check out the Romanoffs and stuff. That it's just like, that fills up my week.
That's a month.
So it's
that's a month right there when you look at it that way. When you stack it all together. I hope that The Good Place gets better.
No, come on. You have a problem. You're the Star Wars guy that we're talking about.
Dude, that opening episode, the hour-long episode, was not very good.
No, I disagree. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I thought that the Chidi's new girlfriend was absolutely hilarious, and I really liked that they kind of like moved that out a little bit because it kind of felt unrealistic that Chidi and Eleanor would be like kind of soulmates in a sexual way. So I like that they're creating that. I really enjoyed it. I like that it was just as twisted and just as mental as the time before.
It just felt like an hour long of setup, and there was not many laugh out loud. Like I didn't get the vibes from it that I normally get. Beth and I both were kind of like, that felt really flat.
Yeah, but you do this with everything. You build up so much excitement. You're like, oh, I'm going to watch this. You binge something, and then when you can't binge it, you're just like, oh, I'm not really into this. You did it with Glow. I'll talk to you about Glow right now. Like you did it exactly the same. Like, we watched it and it was all right. It didn't feel as good, but it's like almost like you have unrealistic expectations because of how good you thought the last one was.
Yeah,
and it's like, but I don't.
A lot of people told me I gave up on Glow way too early.
Well, I think you definitely did. Like we've not finished yet. We've just watched episode 8, so there are 10 episodes.
Dude, you've been so stretching this out now. You've been watching that. If that show was good, it wouldn't have taken you 3 months to watch it.
So we watched the first couple of episodes, and I'd been speaking to you. We haven't spoke for ages. I've been speaking to you, and
you're
were
the
like,
one who's busy. Episode's still going up, still hitting record over here, dog. You didn't even hit record today.
I was in Hamburg with all my Japanese friends. Calm down. Leave me alone. So that kind of skewed it a little bit because I was just like, oh, I'm not really sure. And then we've been on a fairly decent run of watching good like British TV shows, which is never really a thing that we do. So it just didn't quite fit in. And then we'd finished Killing Eve, which is a thing that we watched, and obviously Better Call Sauls every week. And then we were just like, oh, should we just watch Glow? Because I didn't really want to sit down and watch an hour-long like Ozark or start something new. I was like, oh, let's just carry on watching Glow. And we've like blasted through it. So in the last 2 days, we've watched like 6 episodes, and then we'll finish it tonight. And it's just, I really, really enjoy it.
All right, well, maybe we'll go back. Maybe I'll say, hey, Beth, do you want to get back in? Everybody's telling me it gets better. And maybe I'll just go in solo. Because I love a good 30-minute show. 30-minute show fits in the pocket really, really well. I don't want to be a negative person. I thought that The Good Place, it just felt flat. It felt like they're kind of against a creative wall. Because I mean, that show is the most creative thing on network TV, and I've praised them up and down about all of the risks that they've taken and how they're able to pull something together. This one just felt a little thin to me, but hopefully they've kind of got their new story arc established. Hopefully next week we can get back into the rhythm of what I love about the show.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Is that fair enough? Is that fair enough?
Yeah, no, of course it is. I get it, but I just think for you, it seems as though it would be better if you just watch them all in one go. I don't.
You need to stop telling me what would be good for me.
No, because you do this so much where you start watching something and then you're like, oh God, it's amazing. And then it's almost like that time away, those 6 months, you build it up and you're like, oh, I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for this. So then when it doesn't completely blow your mind, you're like, oh, it was okay. And I get that. I've done that with loads of things, but I really enjoyed The Good Place. I thought it was great.
All right.
There you go.
Dive back
Screw
in.
you.
Dive back in.
Screw you. Leave me alone.
Okay, folks, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into the Circle of Trust right now. This is our paid member content where we are going to talk all about the AID YouTube channel and through the eyes of creating content and what it means to be a creator. There you go. There was part 1 of our comment below special, i.e. episode broken in half. Why do you say I.E.? Is it R.E.? Am I doing something wrong? Or is I.E. a thing? I feel like I've heard that. I'm just a mimic. I don't really know how to read or write. I just mimic everything that I hear and hope that I mimic it in the proper context. Hopefully, I just mimic that right. Come back tomorrow. We'll look at the YouTube channel. The growing, the edging, the trying to get to the 4,000 hours, the trying to figure out how to find time to make the content I want to make, the whole strategy. It has been challenging nonetheless, but I enjoy a challenge, and I'm enjoying having a challenge that I can be transparent with and share all the numbers and all the stats on the show. To me, it's worth the content just as much as it is worth the real thing. Come back and hear that tomorrow, and come back to listen to comment below next Monday, when we kick off our Creep Week festivities. Sean and I will give you a guide to all things Halloween that are on TV, VOD, streaming for the month of October, back and forwards, all the dates that you need. We'll give you a complete list of all things creepy and scary to watch with yourself or your friends if you have some of those, or a partner if you have a partner, and who knows, maybe you even have kids, right? Sit around the TV, sit around the pumpkin and watch something and be like, shh, be quiet. Fruity and Brickey told me that I should watch this. I'm sick of you kids talking over my stories. We'll be back next Monday when we kick off Creep Week 2018. I'll see you then, or I'll see you tomorrow, or I'll see you sometime soon. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being a member of the Circle of Trust.